Peace and positive vibes. I'm back. Back like a heart attack, front runners on this track. Yes, man, I'm back. But I'm here today to talk about a photo I saw yesterday. And I was on WhatsApp status, and one of my good friends shared a photo, and the photo was basically going, the person on the photo was basically going on a rant, talking about how all of these forms of energy that we try to explain and break down aren't God. Okay, so I'll share the image up so you could see it. And the person had chakras, not God; horoscopes, not God; sage, not God; rocks and crystals, not God; moon and star destiny, not God; universe, not God; the ancestors, not God. Then he had an image. I think the image that they're trying to resemble is an eye, and they said not God. Spiritualists, not God. Psychic readings, not God. Now, I could just one-shot this whole thing by saying one thing, that when we talk about God, and you even look at the meaning of what God is, God basically means everything. So to say that none of these aren't God, you lost. First and foremost, even when we go to the biblical text, God himself said that I create good and evil. Okay, so whether you want to call it evil, it's still a part of God, just saying. Okay, and at the end of the day, one's perception is one's thought. That's your thought. That's the way you see it. Okay, you ever saw that image where it was a 6, and in the image on the other side, the person only could see from their perception, they saw a 6, and the other person from their perception, they saw a 9. And that's life. Everyone only could see life from their perception. Okay, the sad part is that everyone wants to judge from their perception and not look over everything. Okay, now, as this channel is called Know Thyself Work, so I'll go down everything and explain it one by one. Chakras, she started off by saying chakras, not God. So when we look at chakras, the meaning of a chakra is a wheel. And when they broke down the meaning of a wheel, the wheel is a spinning spear, a spear, and this 360 wave of energy. Okay, so what they try to say when they talk about chakras, they talking about a vortex. Okay, a spinning wheel of energy, and this spinning wheel of energy is a form of light. And as I always say in all my videos, light is information. So when you talk about light, you're talking about a form of information. We talk about the 7 chakra systems. The 7 chakras is synonymous to the 7 spirits, aka the 7 equilibriums that create your soul. Okay, 7 chakras, 7 different forms of light, which is different forms of information. Even when we look at our very own brain, when you get a thought, your brain lights up. Okay, so light is information. The sun, the stars, the moon, all of this is forms of information. Okay, and even when we look at the spirit is a vibration, a form of light. And I ask you this: try to explain God without trying to explain spirit. Even when you look at the biblical text, it talks about God breathing himself into existence. Okay, so we know God is a form of light. Okay, a form of information, which is a spirit, and spirit is energy. So it's so low vibrational to think that chakras have nothing to do with God. it's crazy. Even when we look at our horoscopes, again, light is information. When we talk about horoscopes, we're talking about a cluster of stars, a group of stars that are closely knitted together. And one could even talk about the zodiac, and the zodiac basically resembles an eye because it also too is a vortex of energy, which is this universe. Okay, and this vortex of energy has different clusters of stars, aka groups of information personalities. Okay, and we break it down into the zodiac, the 12 zodiac. Okay, as we know, we have the 12 zodiac, which is the 12 forms of information, aka spirit, that creates this soul that we call the universe. All right, this being that we live in. But a lot of people don't want to fathom this. Okay, now let's look at the other stuff that she said. She talked about sage. She said sage isn't God, but sage is a herb. Herb is created by what? Nature. Even when you do the research on when you do the research on nature, when you look at the Cambridge Dictionary, do the research on nature, and it'll tell you that nature is the fulfillment of everything. Okay, and nature creates physical life. So when we say that sage isn't God, and sage is a herb, which is a plant, and a plant is a part of nature, and nature forms physical life, nature is the fulfillment of everything. So to say that nature isn't a part of God, your perception is very, very lost and cognitive. Okay, she said that rocks and crystals aren't God. Okay, when we look at crystals, crystals are, it's basically a rock, a physical form of light. Okay, so when we talk about crystals, crystals also contain vibration, aka energy. Okay, and these crystals are electrically charged with the light. Okay, when I say the light, I'm talking about the rays, the vibrations of the sun, of the moon. Okay, when it goes into these different houses. Okay, the horoscopes, the zodiac, and these crystals are charged by these different forms of information. Therefore, people use these crystals to bring forth positive energies into their life to manifest whatever they're trying to manifest. Okay, it's electrically charged. So to say that a crystal isn't a part of God, I mean, a crystal is a part of the universe, it's a part of nature. All right, it's a gem, so it's a part of nature. And even when we look at our body makeup, I mean, we basically gems also. We physical gems too. Okay, only difference is we more intelligent than the crystal that you see on the ground, but we basically gems ourselves too. We light, you know, there's no difference. And she also said that the moon and the star destiny isn't God. Okay, like I broke this down already when I talk about the horoscope. The moon and the sun basically is in a cycle, a 360 cycle. Okay, and the moon and the sun basically are governed by the pole. Okay, this pole of energy that we call the North Pole, that governs the moon and the sun. Okay, even in biblical doctrines, they talk of the Tower of Babel, or the Tower of Baal, and this is basically what they're talking about, the same North Pole. Okay, and governments all around the world had this 400-year-old treaty that protects the pole, the North Pole, from any average person like me and whomever. We can never just say, hey, we're going to the North Pole. We can never go there, because it's a 400-year-old treaty blocking anyone from doing these things. If you want an elite, you can't go there. Okay, so the sun, back to what I was saying, the sun and the moon and star destiny. The sun go into these houses, these 12 houses. This is how we get the 12 months of the year. This is how we even get a year. This is how we get time, because we are tracking the sun and the moon. Okay, so when you talk about star and moon and star destiny, how could you say this isn't a part of God and we get time from tracking the sun and the moon? Okay, there's no time without tracking the sun and the moon. How you think we get day? We get day from the sun dawning. Okay, we get night from the moon appearance. So we tracking these two deities, these celestial deities, which is nearest to this physical plane that we live on. Okay, that we call Earth. Stars, these star clusters are different zodiacs. Okay, this is where the horoscope comes in. Different zodiacs, different forms of information, different personalities of what we equate as God. Okay, these are different personalities, aka it's chakras. Okay, and in this 3D realm, we are all a part of this macro being that we call God. We just micro forms of this macro being. This is why the electromagnetic spectrum, aka the zodiac, governs our everyday life. Okay, we cannot exist here without the sun and the moon physically, because we need that light to charge us, because we are physical light. We physical light bodies. Come on, this ain't rocket science. The universe, she said, is not God. I mean, come on. The name itself said, I mean, gives it away. It's the universe. It's all about you. Okay? Even when we look at the word itself is uni and then verse. Okay? Uni is basically the womb, aka the creator that creates. That's what uni is, the womb. Verse is a tone, aka music, because we are all vibrating at different tones in this physical realm. We are music. Life is music. Okay, the universe is the fulfillment of everything, which is nature. So how could you say this isn't a part of God? Come on. Again, people get lost in their perception of thinking and think their perception is right. Okay, don't want to study, don't want to research on anything. Let's go by whatever their religion say, because their religion got to be right. Sad. Okay, and she said the ancestors are not God. Let me break this down short for you. The ancestors are the stars. Like I said, we are light. Only difference is in this realm, we are blinded by our own light, meaning our own physical bodies, domains. Even when you look at the word human, it's broken down to hue, which is H-U-E. Then man, we are hues. You know what hue is? Light. Different horizons, aka different forms of information. This is what we are. Okay, so we are the fulfillment of God in physical form. You are God experiencing his own existence. Okay, sorry, his own creation. Okay, so a lot of persons are lost in this life. Okay, and it's equated to religions. Okay, because religions, whoever created these religions, they know what they was doing. Okay, some of them had good intentions, but the majority had bad intentions, because they knew if they created these different rules and regulations that they would get you to be guilty, feel guilty about yourself. And when you feel guilty about yourself, you basically put yourself in the hell realm. Okay, you create your own hell loop, and people don't understand this. Okay, and this is where all the guilt of sin and all this stuff comes into place, because you basically create your own hell loop because you feel like you did something wrong. And the creators of these different doctrines know this what they was trying to do. This is why they rule and you serve them. Okay. Then she had this image of an eye, basically resembling the all-seeing eye. Okay, and even when we look at the universe, like I said earlier, the universe basically is a resemble of an eye. The universe basically is equivalent to an eye. Okay, even when you look at it from, let me share an image so you can see. The universe is an eye basically, and you see the middle part is empty. That empty part is the North Pole, and even when you look at your eye, you see the same exact resemblance. Okay, so the all-seeing eye is basically equivalent to light, which is information. You could even equate that to the sun. The sun is an all-seeing light, an all-seeing masculine form of information. The moon, the same thing, a more feminine form of information, a light. And this all-seeing eye, aka this all-seeing spirit, is these different forms of light. Okay, the stars, which is these different zodiac signs and everything. Okay, so it is all equivalent to light, which is information, which is the spirit, okay, that create this soul, okay, this entire universe, which is a macro soul, okay, a macro body, and us as micro bodies in this macro body, everything resembles the same thing, just like your body, okay. We have trillions of cells, and all your cells contain your exact DNA. Okay, all of them are just micro forms of your macro self. No difference. She also said that spiritualism isn't God. All right. I mean, I don't even have to go over that part because I basically broken that down throughout this whole video. The spirit is light. Light is information. Our whole bodies is a form of light. This is why we need the sun. This is why we need the stars. This is why we need the moon. This is why we need the whole entire electromagnetic spectrum. Look at the electromagnetic spectrum, and the scientists themselves will tell you that the electromagnetic spectrum governs our everyday life. Okay? Light governs our life. Okay? Even when you look at the biblical text again, Genesis 1:26, God said what? Let us create man in our image. Who's the us? Okay, the us is talking about the different Elohims, aka the different light forms. Okay, the shining ones. El equals the shining ones in Latin. The shining ones is who? The stars. The stars is what? Different forms of information, personalities, aka the ancestors. Because you are light. You are spirit. Come on, this ain't hard to understand. Just get out your perception of thinking. That's all. Psychic readings. Now, I could be honest, I never was one for psychic readings, so we probably could even agree on that one. Now, I believe in astrologers. If you want to tell me that if an astrologer is real, yes, it is real, because I could predict certain things that you will experience via the position of the sun in different houses, the position of the moon in the different houses. You could predict certain events that could happen in your life via opportunities, via you may go through some hardship. You could predict these things through astrology. So I believe in that part of things. All right. But get out your perception. People got to get out these perceptions. All right. Like I made reference to the image of the 6. From one side, the person saw a 9. From the other side, the person saw a 6. It all goes back to your perception. Okay? What is your perception of life? Are you just going to be cognitive in your perception? It's more to your perception. And that's what I had to learn when I first awoken. Okay, I went over, trust me, I went over so much things, so much different researches of different religions, and not to understand, because I grew up in Christianity my whole entire life. So I had to realize that it's more than just this, you know. Your perception is basically all correlated to whoever created those smoke and mirrors for you to just believe in that form of reality, plain and simple. But peace and positive vibes, and know thyself worth. You are limitless. Wake up, get out your perception.